Hello everyone, thank you for joining me in another video here at Seb's Garage. Today we're talking about dead pedals. These are the two versions of the dead pedal that are offered on the website. These are for the first generation Honda Fit, so 07 or 08 model years in the US, and they are only compatible with left-hand drive vehicles. I don't yet have a design for right-hand drive vehicles. You can either get a flat-faced version, or you can get a dimple-dyed face. This is an older version of it. This is a steel multi-piece welded design. They're fairly heavy. Those are no longer being produced. They are now in aluminum single piece, which is much lighter and also better for corrosion resistance. They come in a powder coated textured finish, which is for additional grip. And the flat face is nice and flat. And the dimple dyed has the contour or the dimple towards the foot for additional grip, and also has a little bit of curvature for added comfort. I just got a batch of these in, and this is the updated version of the pedal, of the flat-faced one-piece aluminum. It's nice and light, no welds. It'll be a little bit more apt to take moisture and not corrode versus the old steel welded ones. And you can see it still has that nice textured powder coating on it. So if you order a flat face off the site, it'll look like this guy. Installation of these is fairly simple. You will need a 10mm ratchet and socket combo. I prefer something that's thin walled, so quarter drive usually does the trick, and something with a little bit of an extension so it's a little bit easier to get into the bolt holes. And then you'll need either a metal or plastic trim removal tool, and if you're an old fart like me, something to rest your knees on is always a good idea. So let me go ahead and show you how to get it installed in the car. The first thing you'll want to do is make sure you're parked somewhere where you have ample room to open up this front driver door. I've already gone ahead and set my mat down there to rest my knees on. So you'll want to pop that open all the way, and then we'll go under here, and right underneath this cubby, right underneath here, is a little clip. See if I can get a shot of that. That clip gets turned, and then it loosens up this panel. You'll move over to the right side of it, over here, where there's a clip that is just held in by pressure, and then pull it out and set it aside. The next step will be to set this weather stripping aside so that we can remove this trim piece by the hood latch out of the car. So the way I like to do it is to come in back here, right near the hood latch, and just put a finger underneath it, grab it, and pull it out of the way. And you only need to do it as far as this trim piece goes, so where the dash meets right here to where it meets the floor right there, just so that there's enough room to get that out. The next step will be removing this plastic panel. This is where you can use one of your trim removal tools. There's a clip right over here behind this area, and there's another one on the back upper corner. I usually just go ahead and pull by hand. And then over here, this also just pops off. Once you've got it loose, you'll have to work around the hood latch, so it usually helps to lift it. Pop it out of the way and set that aside as well. Once you've got that panel out of the way, you want to make sure that you don't have any of these plastic clips left behind. That's where one is. The other one goes right up there. So I'm going to use my trim removal tool to get that clip out of there, and we're going to go back here and make sure that it's properly installed, so when we go to put things back together, we're not forgetting anything. The next step is removing these two bolts right here that hold the hood latch in place. So that's where you'll grab your 10mm and take both of these off. And make sure you set them aside because we will be reusing these for the installation of the dead pedal. The next step will be installing the dead pedal. The dead pedal will go over the hood latch and install with the same 2 bolts that we took off to remove the hood latch. Now, these are a pretty tight fit as far as tolerances go, and they do have just a little bit of spring to them. If you can see this right here, they do spring just a little bit. So what I recommend doing is installing the bottom first, seeing exactly where the top hole lines up, and if you need to, you can shimmy it a little bit up or a little bit down, because none of these cars are made exactly the same, and the tolerances on the pedal are pretty tight. So this is where we grab the dead pedal. We put the bottom bolt through the pedal first, and then it goes through the hood latch mounting bracket here. And this is kind of difficult to film. And then we get it started on this bottom bolt hole just by hand. There we go. What I like to do at that point is to grab your 10 mil and snug it up, but not all the way tight, just so that the pedal's not flopping around as much and is sort of in position, but still loose enough to move around. Just like that. Once you've got the pedal in position, and you've got your 3 bolts or your 3 holes, you've got the chassis, the bracket for the hood latch, and the pedal fairly aligned. I'm going to set you down right here. You can start to thread in this bolt hole right here. You may need to mess with the alignment to get everything to sit as it should. And we'll go ahead and tighten that up. Make sure you get that bottom one tight as well. And that's the part where being able to move this top bracket to align it comes into play. If your chassis or your pedal is off just a little bit, you can play with this leg and move it up or down to get that to align. Now that we've got the pedal bolted in place, we'll go ahead and put the plastics back together. Make sure you move the weather strip out of the way. Fish the hood latch through this plastic piece, and then clip the 2 retaining clips in there. Make sure you've got this lined up and clipped as well. And this is where you can get the weather stripping back into place. Now when we're putting this bottom piece back in, there's a couple things you're going to want to keep a lookout for. First is this tab right here. If we're looking at it this way, this is the front, that goes towards the firewall, that goes towards the door, this goes towards the center console. This will slide into a plastic clip. This will go into a hole in that plastic piece we just put back in place. And then there's the metal clip that's held in by pressure, and that tab that gets turned to lock it in place. So again, we've got this guy, goes in there like that. And if you can see that white piece right there is where that goes, and then this hole right there is where that goes. All right, I've got both of the back pieces where they need to be. This one goes just like that with pressure. And this one, once again, goes up and turns just like that to lock it in place. Just like that, you've got a dead pedal installed. It'll clear the WeatherTech 3D mats. It'll give you a nice place to rest your foot when you're clutching in and out. It's also great for highway drives or even spirited driving. You have somewhere to plant your leg and keep you in your seat while driving. Now you'll see that the flat face does hide a little bit more of the ugly carpet if that's what you're after, but the dimple does look really cool with a set of Mugen pedals. Well, I hope you learned a little bit about dead pedals. I think it's one of the must-do mods if you have one of these fits. Even if you drive an automatic, it's a great place to rest your leg. If you have a longer commute, or if you just want to add comfort to the car, it's a really nice little simple mod that you can do to the car to improve the quality of life of having a Fit. It's something that was addressed in the second gen cars that the first gen cars lack. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.